D360 TV proudly presents Messages of Inspirational Stories, broadcasting and live streaming to millions of devices around the world, including Roku, and live streaming to Facebook Live. Also on Amazon Fire TV and to Twitch. Also Android TV and Periscope. Broadcasting to Apple TV and YouTube Live. Proudly brought to you by our host, Donna Guinois, producer and host, Michaela Vidal, host and administrator, and Jim Grant, producer and host. Proudly brought to you by the 6minutewebinar.com.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Messages of Inspirational Stories. Jim, how are you today?
I tell you, I'm always good on Friday, but this is a doubly D, G good, G-double-O-D good Friday.
It's a gooderest good.
Gooderest good, what Donna said. And that didn't come out of Webster's book. That came out of, which book was that? Donnister's, okay.
Yeah.
She voted on that, and that was unanimous to be a good word.
That's right. My husband always tells me, Donna, you can't be making up words. I'm like, why not? And he says, it's not in Webster's. And I said, well, I didn't say it was in Webster's. I said it was in Donnister's. So
I like that. I like that. That's cool. Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday we had a powerful show on Thursday. We felt the energy out there because of the value we were delivering. Oh, my goodness gracious. I mean, Donna, it was electrifying. We hated the show ended.
We did. And this is the book we're coming from, The 7 Levels of Truth.
By Mr. Bill Heinrich. And the reason we share information directly from that book to you is twofold. Number one, when you hear the language that we share with you, that Bill wrote, you can easily see that if we added anything to it or paraphrase it in our own, especially my country English, it would be so watered down. It'd be pathetic. I'll say it.
Well, Bill is just brilliant at what he does.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, he's a personal friend of both Jim and myself.
Yes,
and Jim knows him better than I do, but it doesn't take a whole lot of time spending with Bill to understand the kind of person he is. And he is brilliant at what he does.
Mm-hmm. That book is 25 years in the making of his life because he shares how he walked away from his life. And he just really, he felt lost. He felt worthless. And he had to go find himself. Mm-hmm. When I say he walked away from his life, the only thing he took with him was his name. He was all alone and lost. So I think anybody and everybody that could relate to how he felt. And some of the folks out there in TV land, you've been there, you may be there right now. And if you do go on Amazon and get the book, at least you'll know what you're getting. Plus the fact we don't receive any compensation for that from that because Bill is a friend of ours. And that's what you do with friends. You share great information from one person to another.
You lift him up.
Yes, and it's our honor to call Bill Heinrich our friend. It really is.
Absolutely.
But you know what the day is, don't you? National Day? Good Friday. Oh, my goodness gracious.
It's the gooderest Good Friday.
Yes, it is. And it's the Christians, they recognize this holiday as being, the beginning of the Holy Week there. And it's really amazing what Good Friday means to us. Sunday is Easter here in the United States. I'm getting ready to get in my car and leave. I got a new grandbaby I got to go see.
No, you have a new great-grandbaby.
That's right. I just said that, see if Donna was paying attention to what I was saying.
And how many great-grandbabies do you have now? Let's see if he can remember.
Oh, I got 8.
Okay, good.
Even number. I got 8 great-grandchildren, And it's amazing. It really is. I tell you, I didn't think you could get great grandkids to at least 105. So I guess I got a head start on Everport. A lot of people at 73, a lot of people have great grandkids. I understand that, but I'm just making a joke out of it. But yesterday, I got to remember too, this is very, very important. This is a day that we remember that I'm trying to remember how many people lost their life on Titanic.
Oh, I knew you were going to ask that, Jim.
And I was going to look that up, and I didn't because I've been so busy getting everything going. But anyway, we'll find out. But today is the historic day of the remembering the Titanic. And my goodness, the ship was unsinkable, but yet it went down just before midnight on April the 14th in 1912.
1,517 lives were lost.
And they didn't have enough lifeboats for everybody because the ship was supposed to be unsinkable. And it's really sad that all those lives were lost, and it's real sad that without proper preparation, I mean, who would think that you wouldn't have enough lifeboats on a passenger ship like that?
Of that size and that magnitude.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I mean, that's what baffles me.
Yeah. And to think how some of those poor people felt knowing that they had no hope, there was nothing they could do. The ship was going down, and they were too. And my heart goes out to the families and people that their relatives that they lost their ancestors there. It's a tragic event, but it's important to remember those that we've lost in our family, in our friends who are family too, and to remember the good times and be thankful for those good times, because even in tragedy we should be thankful. Like in this case here, we've all lost loved ones. And it's very, very important for us to remember to be thankful for the good times we had together. It's very important to us.
Absolutely.
And yesterday, I'm just going to highlight these very quickly. We covered the life you were born to live. And these were the reasons. It's number 1, this is 1 through 10, creativity and confidence. We covered that yesterday in the show, because a lot of people lack confidence, and that just blocks their creativity. And cooperation and balance, and that's with others that you work or you're in contact with. Expression and sensitivity, that's another one. That's one that I've never really thought too much about, expressing myself in a sensitive way. Not that I'm hard or anything, I just hadn't thought about it in those terms.
Well, expressions are, and sensitivity, I would talk to my kids about tonality.
Mm-hmm.
And we've touched with that briefly on the show, but your tone is everything. And that's part of our expression.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So I can say, hey, Jim, could you please, move the car? It's blocking my way.
Mm-hmm.
Jim, could you please move the car? It's blocking my way.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Such a difference in tonality.
Mm-hmm.
Same words, but the meaning off the chart different.
And the same is true in the written word, because a lot of times when we write something, that's the easiest way to get misunderstood.
Mm-hmm.
And I've talked about one time before here on the show how I sent out an email to some people that when I was in the military, and I just put down, FYI for your information. I did it in capital letters, and I bolded it just for their eye to catch attention. For your information, okay, this is important. And one individual wrote me back, and she did not appreciate me shouting at her. And I did not mean that at all.
Right.
But it's important to understand that that's how easily and quickly someone can misinterpret your true meanings.
Right.
And then when I explained it, and then she apologized. I'm sorry. Don't worry about that. No big deal.
Right.
But at least she brought it to my attention. And then stability and process. I like that one there. To achieve stability and security by patiently. This has been one of my faults in life. Patiently. I've been very anemic in my patience, to be honest with you. Patiently following a gradual process towards selected goals. That is so critical because that removes the stress. That removes when you wake up in the, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, oh, I got to get this done. I got to push this chain uphill. I got to do this. Relax, because that just brings on undue stress. And that stress is 100% harmful to your health. We know that. And Donna talks a lot about releasing the triggers in your life, a person, place, or thing that can just rob you of all your creativity, your happiness. My goodness gracious.
Right.
Put a value on that, huh?
No value.
Yeah,
that's
you go.
Priceless.
There you go. And how freedom and discipline go hand in hand. If you really want to be free on the inside, you got to be disciplined on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
That's very, very important. And of course, vision and acceptance. You are here to reconcile your high ideals with practical reality and to accept yourself with all your imperfections and who you are.
We're perfectly perfect.
Imperfectly perfect. There you go. And to accept yourself, your world, and the present moment through an expanded vision of life's inherent perfections. My goodness gracious. And I'm going to ask Donna Reed share a little bit about trust and openness.
Number 7, trust and openness.
Mm-hmm.
You are here to trust the light or spirit within yourself, in others, and in the process of your life so that you feel safe enough to open up and share your inner beauty with the world.
I wanted Donna to read that because I saw that word inner beauty, and inner, I can handle that, but beauty, that's something that, that's outside my arena.
I love that because we often think of ourselves, especially when we're struggling, going through a difficult time, that there is nothing inside us that is beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
And that's so far from the truth.
In it too.
So far from the truth.
And this one here I like, power and abundance. Wouldn't you like to have power and abundance? Oh, my goodness gracious. Yeah, I'll take 3 truckloads of each. I'll make that 4. No, but really, power and abundance. You're here to work with abundance, the abundance that comes to you in your life that you have.
Mm-hmm.
This is a gift that you are entitled to. And you work with that abundance and power and recognition to apply your success for the common good. Now that is power, very powerful whenever you use your talents, your gifts, your ability to help someone else in their hour of need and give someone a hand up in life, not a handout.
Right.
There's a difference between the two in that, isn't there, Donna?
There's a big difference, Integrity and wisdom, number 9. Mm-hmm. You are here to live in accord with your highest integrity, to align your life with your heart's intuitive wisdom, and to inspire others by example.
Leading by example. We talked about that last show too.
And leading in integrity, your highest integrity. That's huge. And I've talked about that on previous shows. And for me, that is extremely important. Anybody who knows me knows that I have a certain integrity that I hold myself to. And if somebody is outside of that integrity, doesn't mean that they're a bad person. It just means I can't align myself with them. Right? I can't align myself with them because our integrities are at 2 different levels. So, we're doing this, right? We're just butting heads instead of going up and up together.
Yeah, it's kind of like a flower, you just bloom and blossom together.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And, when you talk about leading by example, oh my goodness, that is so critical because everyone wants to be associated with someone who is a leader that leads by example. And you are a leader. You can lead by example. You may not think you have that capability of those tools in your toolbox, but you do. That's where trusting yourself, having the confidence in yourself, and being grateful for everything that happens in your life, good or bad. That's as tough as sometimes that is to take. We need to be grateful for the good things. And the inner gifts, oh my goodness gracious. That's another one there. Because we all have inner gifts. All of this is tied together, and we wind up that list with inner gifts. You have special inner gifts that is just as unique as your thumbprint. You know nobody else on planet Earth has got your thumbprint. No one else has got your specific inner gifts. Please wrap your mind around that, grasp that, and own it.
Mm-hmm.
That's important. That'll help build your confidence. And I'm going to ask Donna, because she did such a wonderful job of it. On the last show, we're just going to start with this, and we're going to go deeper. But where it says your life is always part of the energetic flow of the universe. I'll just listen to Donna's words when she reads this. This is incredible.
As soon as I find it.
It's on the page 113.
I knew that. I was testing you.
Did I pass? Right. If I got a 113, I guess I passed. If it's
right, you did pass. You did. I found it. I was way on the wrong page.
I hear you.
Your life is always part of the energetic flow of the universe, and you will be given opportunities by the universe that will allow you to learn and heal your life lessons. The universe creates events in your life that are designed to get your attention. Maybe it's a fender bender with your car, not getting a job you applied for, an illness, a pain in your neck or in your back. It could be anything, but it is definitely will be a disruption to the flow of your life. This is how the universe speaks to get your attention when you are unconscious. Each time the universe provides the opportunity for you to learn more about your life lessons, it does so with a little more volume and strength. Ignore the message from the universe, and the size or impact will increase the next time the universe speaks. When I was living unconsciously, I was associating these events with bad luck. When was the other shoe going to fall? Why does this always happen to me? It was the universe trying to get my attention, and I didn't realize it.
I just love to hear you read that, Donna, and I've asked you to read it. In fact, I asked you to read it again yesterday, so I won't do it today. But listening to your voice, the tone of your voice, the words that Bill wrote, ladies and gentlemen, that's just pure power right there. That's just a nugget of truth that, that's why he calls it the 7 levels of truth. One thing about truth, it never goes old and it never goes out of style.
For me, this part of the book really resonates.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's different parts throughout the book that really resonate with me, but this one hits home because there is power. And this is what I want everyone to understand. There is power in recognizing issues, problems in your life. There is power in that. There is power in seeing it. There is power in working through it. And there is power in cleansing tears.
Yes.
And those tears are just, for me, they're a closure, right? They're like, okay, wow, I have to feel this pain to move on. But now I can release it.
You're exactly right. Because when you're reading that, I'm thinking about the courage it takes to face that and say, this distraction in my life does not define me, it does not own me, and it will not destroy me.
Right.
And some people let little things, that may not be a little thing, but in the big picture of life, it is a little thing. They let that be their roadmap or their GPS, their mental GPS in their minds, and they're waiting for the other shoe to fall, like Bill put it, and some people walk.
They let it be the boulder in the middle of the road that stops them.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of like I've known people, and I'm sure you have too, Don, and you folks out there in TV land. They could walk out on a clear blue sky day with the sun shining, the birds singing, and they'll be looking for a cloud that's going to rain on them.
Right.
They've mentally set themselves up for failure. Rather than to set yourself up for success. And that comes with the discipline of being free on the inside and owning all these gifts and these traits that you have because you got them right now in your toolbox. You don't have to send off for anything. You don't have to buy anything. All you got to do is own it.
Right.
And believe in yourself. Oh, my
Absolutely.
goodness. And when someone turns that, gets around that curve and turns the corner, it's powerful.
The power that's in it.
Mm.
How do I describe this? The power that is in owning something that is a life lesson,
Mm-hmm.
right? Good, bad, whatever it is. The power that we have when we own it, because we can recognize it, we can digest it and deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we know that we got through that there is nothing now that can stop us, that we can go forward. And the next time something in life hits us head on, you know, you can look at it and go, is that all you got?
Yeah, kind of like that song, Hit Me With Your Best Shot. Who was
right?
that?
Pat Benatar.
Pat Benatar, Hit Me With Your Best Shot. You know, go ahead, fire away.
Right?
You know, that evidently that best shot didn't knock her down, because I saw her sing that song, I don't know, 5-10 times live, you know. I mean, I wasn't at a live performance, but, you know, seeing her performance. So evidently that best shot didn't knock her all the way down or anything.
No.
If she did, she got back up. But this is one thing that's very interesting. I've heard Bill talk about this a lot, and that is your perceptions and memories of what happened while you were growing up are your own.
Big one.
Ooh, yeah, that one sentence is a powerful sentence there, isn't it?
That is very powerful.
And whatever you think or believe is your interpretation. And let me get my book closer here. And my eyes are 73 years old, so I got to get a little bit closer here. And your stories have a tendency to change as more time passes. Isn't that the truth?
Mm-hmm.
Your stories have a tendency to change as more time passes, and they seem to grow in strength. That's why Grandpa started out walking 2 miles in the snow to go to school, and he wound up walking 6 miles.
Uphill both ways.
Yeah, uphill both ways. Now, that is something I'd like to see. I'd pay to see that. And, you know, just thinking about just those couple of sentences there I've read, you know, shared with you, my goodness gracious, it's so true what he says. Your stories have a tendency to change as more time passes. And that tells you the limitation of our mind. That's why we got to be careful and let our heart lead us, following the energy of life, because our minds, well, you know, it's limited, okay? Your mind can only bring up the past. I see Donna's wanting to say something. Go ahead, girl.
Well, I'm thinking about that. It's sort of like, I think most everybody's been there. You've had, for me, it was lima beans, okay? I don't mind lima beans, but what I don't like is when you take a mouthful of lima beans and chew them, 4 or 5 lima beans have now grown into 20. Right? And so that's what that sentence is saying, right? It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger until all of a sudden it's hard to swallow. And that when we swallow it, it kind of gets stuck right here in our throat. Right? So what was really isn't.
Yeah. I remember reading the story about W. Clement Stone talking about one time he was at a restaurant and he saw they had frog legs on the menu. And so he asked the guy, he says, are these the small frog legs or the large frog legs? He says, well, we got small ones. He said, okay, good. Give me an order of small frog legs, because he had a bad experience eating large frog legs, okay? And so the waiter delivered the plate and they were the large frog legs. And he says, I ordered small frog legs. He said, well, sir, they were the smallest ones that we got. And so rather than being unpleasant, Clement said, I adjusted my attitude and I'm just going to, eat them, even though I may not enjoy them as much as the smaller ones that I've had in the past. But then he realized, oh my gosh, these things are delicious. So in his mind, he related large frog legs and spoilage. That was the problem.
Right.
He connected the large frog eggs to the spoilage, but the spoilage was the problem. That's what tainted the taste to them in the initial beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how easy our mind can conjure up something that we think is gospel.
Can change what the reality of what is.
Oh, yeah. You're absolutely right. And we got to be careful of that. That's why being open-minded is so important. And that's why if you follow your choices in life rather than decisions, you can be led in the direction that your life was designed for you to, the pathway has already been laid for you to travel down that pathway. And
Right.
that's so important, isn't it, Donna?
It really is. It really is. So I love this part because
Okay.
for me, we're talking about how something in our childhood, right, can come back up. How many times have we heard, well, it was because of my childhood?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's a blame game.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing. Being a parent is the most incredibly beautiful, honorable job on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing, in my opinion, better than being a parent. Nothing more beautiful. But it is also the hardest job on the planet.
Oh, yeah.
And there is no rule book. And so as we hear this, as children grow into adults and they say, well, it was my childhood. Again, no, it's your perception. And I'm not saying that some people haven't had a rough childhood, because we know that that's the case many times. But how we deal with it is what becomes our reality. And that, folks, is what defines us and gives us character and power. You have the power to be a victim, or you have a power to be a victor. So you choose.
I like the way you finished that sentence. So you choose. It's a choice.
Absolutely.
I mean, you take, for example, when I was in the 5th grade and we had to give oral book reports, immediately it scared me to death when I heard it. And I hated doing that. And I was horrible at it. I had to give 2 of them. And it scarred me for decades. And I was convinced that I could never, ever, ever speak in front of a group of people. I believed that. It was gospel.
Right.
But as fate would have it, I had to find a new military unit. And the only one I could find that would, that had an opening for me was an instructor school. And this was a group of instructors. And I had to train to become an instructor. And I thought, Mother of Jesus, what did I do? I mean, I knew it was an instructor school. I'm going to be trained to be an instructor. You can't talk in front of people. And I'll guarantee you that was in the early 90s. And I went on, became an instructor, conquered my fears. And the 12 years that I was a certified instructor were the best years of my life because I loved it. I loved it. But all those other years in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and on up into the 90s, early 90s, I was convinced that I could not speak in front of a group of people. And if someone would have told me, hey, Jim, you're 73, you're going to be on TV with Donna Guinois, I would have looked at them like, you have lost every brain cell in your head.
So, Jim, with that, it kind of goes back to your life is always part of the energetic flow of the universe, and you will be given opportunities by the universe that will allow you to learn and heal your life lessons.
That would have been such a blessing to me because I tortured myself over that. I mean, I just kept going over and over in my mind my dad's words. Son, exactly when did that seem like a good idea to you? I love that. It's just amazing. But think about what you just read there, Donna, how that can bless someone right now out there in TV land. I mean, these are just wow moments in some people's lives because the words that we're sharing with you, the written word from the 7 Levels of Truth by Bill Heinrich, this is the kind of stuff that kids should be taught in school.
Right.
To be all they can be. I mean, it's such a
To,
huge injustice. It's
to
pitiful.
not to not carry the baggage forward,
Yes, yes.
right? To not
Hmm.
carry the baggage forward.
Hmm.
So, do you want to read the next part of that? Because this is such an incredibly important part of this book.
Okay. Okay. However,
114.
yeah, I'm on 114. I'm looking here. I see. However,
The
those,
stories inside you.
oh, the stories inside you. I'm finding that sentence. Go ahead while I find it, and I'll pick up with you.
The
That you know.
stories, the stories inside you about your past assisted you in your quest for survival at a very young age. However, those stories, beliefs, and perceptions may not serve you at this time in your life. They may not be in alignment with your life today and are affecting the choices you make in each moment. How you felt at that time of your life was real, but the stories that create these feelings may not be.
Mm.
Over the course of time, these stories gain strength and build more intense emotions. You may get confused about your life and lose your real purpose.
Oh, wow. Lose your real purpose. Oh my gosh.
I mean,
That just really hits home right there. That just takes that's when the chickens come home to roost right there, ladies and gentlemen. To think
absolutely.
about, if you're in this category here and you're in experiencing these things and you're self-justifying your stories, you're sacrificing your real purpose of being here on planet Earth, your life. Wish to live in a love and abundance, be powerful. Oh my goodness. Why be miserable, when you can be powerful?
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
I did that. I've done this right there, what I just read. When I was 4 years old to the time I was 9 years old, we had two female dogs, and neither one was spayed. We had a miniature schnauzer and a German shepherd. And the miniature schnauzer actually raised a shepherd. Of course, the shepherd got big. I was 4 years old, and I went outside to have my mother tie my shoe because I could cross it, but I couldn't make my bunny ears, right? My mama was hanging up clothes. Directly in front of me at the wall, Bridget, the schnauzer, was underneath Heidi, the shepherd. And Heidi did something that Bridget didn't like. And so, having reared her, she snipped at her and, scolded her and nipped under her chin, which is what a normal mom dog would do.
Hmm.
It twisted Heidi, and she got madder than a wet hen and reached around and grabbed her by the belly and split her wide open. I've seen that happen 4 times. So, needless to say, I was scared to death of dogs.
Mm.
I loved Heidi, and I could do anything with her. I knew she wasn't going to hurt me, but I was traumatically stressed because of what I saw at such a young age.
Mm.
And I've had cats my whole life, and it wasn't until I got my dog Jake. And you know what? It was beautiful because I said, I want this puppy. And that puppy and myself healed that traumatic event.
Wow.
Not that it's not there.
Mm.
But Jake is 12 years old. I'm 57. That's how long it took me to get a dog.
Mm. That's an amazing story. I hadn't heard that, but yeah, I can see how that would affect you in your life. My goodness gracious.
But I shouldn't have allowed it to affect me for so long.
Yeah, but see, when someone doesn't have the words there that, like we have shared with you, these important
Right.
words, how do you put it all together?
Right.
That's like when I came back from Nam. I remember we were sitting down eating supper, and my sister looked at me and she says, "Jimmy, what was it like over there?" I looked up from my plate, and all eyes were on me. Silence, and I couldn't handle
Mm-hmm.
it. I had to get up and walk out of the room, and it was just a horrible feeling for me because I didn't know how to handle it.
Right.
I didn't know how to answer it or what to say, or so I said nothing. And we've all been there and we've all experienced that. And therefore, that's why these words are so valuable out there, especially to the young people. Oh my goodness gracious, Donna,
Right.
we're on the advisory council of the International Youth Summit with over 100,000 youths around the world. And a lot of them are sharing our show and they're listening to our show. Think about how those words are resonating with them because they've never heard anything like this before.
Right. Right.
I mean, it's just amazing because, the life you were born to live, excuse me, this will guide you back to your true path. Because everybody, sometimes people feel lost on the inside. And when you feel lost, it's because you're not on your true path. You know that deep down inside.
You're not in alignment.
Yes, something's wrong. You may not know how to figure it out or find it, but reading good information like this, sharing knowledge with you, this will help you get your feet back on solid ground because that's what you need because you have a specific pathway in life that is all yours. And it is a bright and shining path, specifically created just for you. I mean, I wish I heard those words when I was younger.
Right.
When I was a youth. Yeah.
Yeah. What an amazing difference this would have made.
Yeah. I mean, dumb bunny me, the only thing I read in school was comic books.
Well, it's funny because if I could just finish this part of it.
Yeah, please.
So he says, you may be, okay, so the last sentence I read was, you may get confused about life and lose your real purpose. The life you were born to live will guide you back to your true path. You have an opportunity to write a new story, something that will support who you truly are as you live your life purpose. It is time to start a new chapter.
Ooh, I want to talk about that some. My goodness gracious. I was at a meeting many years ago, and this motivational speaker's up there, and he says, you have a story. You need to write a book. You need to share your story. And I'm missing the point big time because I'm thinking this guy wants to, me to, sell me a opportunity to write a book or something. I don't know. I don't need anything like that. But his message to me and the message we're sharing with you is that your life is your story. Share the things that you went through, like Donna has shared some things and I've shared some things. Share the things in your story. Write it down. And you might find you don't have to publish it or anything like that. You might, just start writing some pages and you might find some words in there that you could just copy and paste and send to someone on a text or email or something like that. And just say, I was thinking of you and I want to share a little bit about my life and what I went through.
Or write it for your children.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I go tell my children what I've done in my life. They might disown me. I'm just kidding. But really, family history, that's a great point, Donna, because, growing up, I've got a brother and sister that's buried somewhere. I know the general area that they're buried, but their grave has no marker. And one time as siblings, we wanted to put a marker on our brother and sister's grave. Because my mom and dad, they had just gotten married. They were young, didn't have any money shortly after the Depression, and, it's just one of those things that, we wanted to do it. Mother knew where the grave was. Father knew where the grave was. I'd been over there the last time I was there at that grave when I was about 14. But that was it. And my other siblings, they've been over there once or maybe twice during their lifetime. But collectively, none of us knew where that grave was. That was lost in family history. Right. So if you got if you got an older mother, older father, grandmother, grandfather, sit down with them. And you may not want to write everything, but just just record it on your phone. I mean, we can record conversations all day long on the phone or do it on a Zoom call or whatever. But ask them questions and listen to what they say.
Right.
Because that's important. Because you can also share some of their life experiences and their stories with someone in their hour of need. Just think about all the people, Donna, we have touched on this out in TV land here, that these few sentences that we've read, a few paragraphs, I should say, we have read so far in this production here of the show. Think about how many people we've touched.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Because it's even touching me, because I just kept thinking, man, this is what we should be teaching this in school. This is what I should have learned or been taught in school when I was growing up, and I'm not, blaming anybody. I'm just saying it's just so valuable.
But the beautiful thing is that if this is what resonates with you, is that you can teach your children. You can teach your grandchildren. You can help them.
Mm-hmm.
You can
certainly
help them
can.
if this resonates with you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, because they're not hearing it anywhere else. Because just ask yourself, where have you heard this at before?
Right.
And that answer would probably be nowhere. And Donna, to start a new chapter in life, that's so important, because that means my past did not destroy me. I'm going to go forward. Yes, those things happen. Okay, that's fine. But it does not own me.
Right.
It does not own me. It's just like with what you went through with your physical afflictions with, MS and the 3 brain surgeries and all. That's part of your life, but it doesn't own you.
No, does not define me.
Not at all.
It just happens to be something that I have.
Mm-hmm. And something that you went through with the surgeries and all. And Bill goes on to write here. He talks about some people have had horrific childhoods. We realize that. While others would say they came from the best family anyone could imagine. But both of these are affected by their upbringing, which is influenced by their perceptions. That is a powerful statement there.
Very powerful.
Because your perceptions, which are determined by your life lessons, that's where it comes from. And when you are here to learn a lesson and you live in survival, your view of the world is going to be how to protect yourself. There were things learned and beliefs created that no longer serve the expansion of our souls. Acquiring and understanding of these beliefs proves that we no longer have to be controlled by the events of our past. Now, I'll finish this out here. It says, in both cases, there are life lessons to be learned. And if you want tomorrow to look different from today, we have to make different choices and take actions now.
I love the sentence, acquiring an understanding of this belief proves that we no longer have to be controlled by the events of our past. It honestly, I can say this, that a lot of times when we go to counseling, we see a psychologist or a psychiatrist. A lot of times, some of the things that we are struggling with today, or just in the near future, are actually residual bringing up from our past.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
You're
and some
right.
of it we are unconsciously aware of.
Mm-hmm. That's a very good point, Don. I hadn't thought about that, but you're right on. You are spot on. I'll tell you that right now. It just amazes that you have the choice right now,
right,
to make your tomorrow look different than today, but you must take action.
Again, you have a choice.
Think about that. Yeah, some people in life, I like to use a rose bush sometime when I'm talking about, explaining something in life. And they all say, some people in life, when they walk outside and they see a rose bush, some people look at the beautiful roses. And some people only see the thorns because of their beliefs, their attitude, the way that they are waiting for the shoe to fall, Or if it's a clear clear day and not a cloud in the sky, okay, where's the rain cloud at? It's going to rain on me today. I forgot
Right.
my umbrella. And it just amazes me that we have the power of choice. Oh, I don't think we can say that enough. It's just amazing, Donna. It really is.
When we understand that we have the power of choice in every aspect of our life changes.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Yeah.
it's going to change depending on the choice you make.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you're in a situation where you continue to make bad choices, it's going to stay in a bad area. It's not going to move forward. But if you change that direction and make the choice to get out of those situations or that kind of thinking, whatever the case may be, that's when change happens and you move forward.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what brought Donna and I together to be producers and hosts of this show and the several things we're doing together, because we met in an environment that we thought was healthy, and things, I'm going to try to,
It was
say
toxic.
this. Yeah, I'll try to say this in a nice way, but individually, we knew that this is not a good place for us.
Right.
And just so happened, soon as we both left the toxic area, if you want to call it fate, if you want to call it energy, but it just kind of like, okay, now we got this boulder out of the way. Now you two guys walk on your pathway. It's going to run parallel and just continue to march. And that's exactly what happened.
The universe called.
Yeah. And that's what's waiting for you if you allow yourself to get anything toxic out of your life, because as Donna likes to say, it's either a person, a place, or a thing, or a combination of all three. And let me humbly say, if you'd like for Donna to share some time with Donna, let me put it like that. Just send her an email, highenergyrightnow@gmail.com. She will give you a 30-minute complimentary counseling session at no charge. That's part of our gift to you. And Bill Heinrich, goodness gracious, just get in touch with Bill with truelifepurposenow.com, truelifepurposenow.com, and Bill will schedule you in. You can schedule a time with him for a complimentary 30-minute consultation on how you can find your energy, and you will receive the same type of wisdom from Bill that we've been sharing with you in this book right here. So, and I'll tell you right now, that'd be 1 hour of time well invested in your life, especially if you're struggling, especially if you feel lost on the inside, especially if you feel like you're pushing a chain uphill. Gosh, I've been there. I know that's no fun.
Absolutely.
It just drags you down, wears you out.
And sometimes we get stuck, and we know we're stuck, but we don't know how to get unstuck.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We can't always do it all by ourselves.
Mm-mm.
Sometimes we need a little help, a little push.
Absolutely. I'm going to read on a little bit further here in Bill's book, because
Please
he
do.
shares an example. He said, I was speaking to a client who was angry and upset. I told him that anger was not serving him, it was destroying him. He told me that having anger in that situation was part of his Latin culture. He was right. It was part of his Latin culture, because that is what he chose to label it as. It was a rationalization that gave him permission to stay angry. That's what he was searching for. He was looking for a way to remain angry.
He was looking for an excuse.
There. And everyone has stories and beliefs from childhood, and we live our lives based on those stories we protect. Our stories are reconstruction of past events in life designed to protect us in a survival mode, prove a point to reach a projected outcome, all in the defense of the action and person who has taught us the story. Is Bill singing someone's song out there with those words, Donna?
Right.
Is someone saying, hey, that's me.
Mm-hmm.
Because, many years ago, I could say, hey, that's me.
Oh, yeah.
All of us can.
Oh, yeah. I
Oh,
gave myself,
goodness.
in my young years, I gave myself an excuse to stay angry.
Oh, yeah.
Not that I was an overly angry person. I
Mhm.
just let the situations,
Mhm.
just life happens,
Yeah.
right? And I would let those situations get me angry.
Mhm.
And gosh, I'm so glad I don't have to live in that life anymore.
Oh, yeah, because that defines you and that controls you.
Oh, and it is
It,
exhausting.
yeah, it enslaves you too. And
Mhm.
I was the same way when I was young. Because when you're in your 20s, and give you a good example. When you're in your 20s, you take pictures and you look like you're real cool and all that. You get up in your 30s and all that, and then when you're my age, you look at your pictures in your 20s. You're like, oh man, throw that thing away. That's ugly. Yeah, I look like a
Right?
dork. You know, you know. But it's just amazing how we, do we look at ourselves properly? Because I guess we all look at ourselves maybe a little better than most people who look at us or whatever, but that's okay. But my point being is that take an honest look at yourself. What's making you angry? Because that anger is destroying you. Oh,
Well, Bill says here, right after what you just read,
okay.
what stories do they have?
Mm,
And what are they protecting?
mm,
What would your life look like without that story?
mm,
When was the last time you told the story?
mm,
How often do you find yourself defending your stories and beliefs?
mm, mm, mm,
That's huge,
mm.
right?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to make a suggestion for Donna. I'm going to make a suggestion for her to read this book because the way she expresses herself with her tones and all that, and the way she pronounces those words and everything, the way they resonate from her, just make an audio of it, and then, man, that'd be incredible.
Well,
That would be incredible. Just something you could just plug in and listen to. Close your eyes and just listen to her words because you do have that. That's one of her gifts.
well, thank you. But it resonates with me. It's part
Mm,
of who I am.
mhm.
I know people who could benefit from this book in my
Oh,
personal
amen.
life, right? But I don't know if they can get out of their own damn way to get out of their own damn way. I'm just being honest.
I like the way Donna takes the slack out of the chain and she just says, this is the way it is. But really, they're their own worst enemy.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
that's sad when someone's their own worst enemy
Hmm.
because other people see it.
It's like I look at it like this, like they're and I don't mean this that they're a snake, but it's like that when a rattlesnake bites,
Mhm.
except this time they keep biting themselves,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
They keep biting themselves. And that's kind of how I look at it. And I think about this and I think, oh my gosh, this book is so incredibly powerful.
It is.
And it hits for everybody, not
Yeah.
just not just a group of people, right?
Hmm.
It doesn't pigeonhole us and it doesn't put us in a box because everybody can learn, open, benefit, and make a choice based
Mm.
on how this book opens up your
Hmm.
life and
Mm.
your experiences.
Goodness gracious. Right now, I feel like we need to go another hour and a half, but we're out of time.
We are.
But my goodness, please go to, True Life Purpose Now. And this is Bill's picture here. I get it on there right. There we go. TrueLifePurposeNow.com. Mr. Bill's picture. And be sure and get in touch with Donna. Her email address, High Energy Right Now. Because if you need high energy, you need it right now. And if you're sinking and you feel like you're just lost inside, you need some help and you need it right now. And if you're listening to these words, that is the universe giving you a call to come on, step out of the darkness into the light, live in power and abundance. That's who you are destined to be. I don't care if you were born poor. I don't care if you you grew up in an abusive, I mean, I do care you grew up in an abusive relationship, but that is not who you are now.
Step into your power. And
Step into your greatness. Your greatness. Oh.
And break the chains that hold you hostage.
Set yourself free. Remember we talked about freedom and discipline go hand in hand. Have the discipline right now to set yourself free. Please do. You owe that to yourself. Oh my goodness. I've never, these last couple of shows, Donna, it's really touched us a lot. Indeed.
It has.
And it's been, it's just amazing because I know out there in TV land, there's someone out there saying, especially some of the young kids. We know some of the young kids on that International Youth Summit, and we just talked to them about basic stuff,
right?
Like how to speak and all that. And they're going like, "Wow, this is great." I've never, they thought we could part the Red Sea and lead them into the Promised Land, but the only thing me and Donna knew was we just knew where the rocks were in the water.
Yeah, stubbed our toe a time or two.
Yeah, but realistically, we know that we're reaching out and touching people, and that's incredible. And we're grateful we have the opportunity to call Bill Heinrich our friend. We're grateful we have the opportunity to share some of his words from his book with you. And we sincerely hope and pray that you will share this video and all of our videos, especially yesterday's and today's, with someone out there who is struggling. And they're in the dark, they're lost, because they need your help. That could be your calling in life to be a bright light in their life, because everybody needs someone that cares about them to help them get from where they are to where they want to be.
Absolutely. Well, on behalf of Jim and I, we want to wish you all, if you're celebrating Easter, a happy Easter. May you have a beautiful weekend, whatever it is you're doing to celebrate.
Absolutely. And you know what I'm going to be eating next week? Boiled eggs. I mean, we'll make them up in the egg salad and all that, because we do the Easter egg hunt with the grandkids, not the grandkids, the great-grandkids.
Great-grandkids.
Yeah. But we go over to the grandkids' house and play with the great-grandkids,
Right.
And I get out there and act my age with the great-grandkids.
I love it.
Oh, yeah, it's priceless. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back next week. We're going to have some special shows on next week. Sergeant Stubby as a dog is going to be on Monday. And then that rest of that week and the following week, we're going to do the replay of Emerson Brantley's. I can say it now. Mr.
Right.
X.
Mr. X.
On marketing. He is a marketing guru. The man he closed the deal with the VFW and Walmart on trees back in 2002. The story went viral and played for many years on PBS. And also he closed a deal with in the boardroom of Home Depot. So he knows what he's talking about.
He does.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, our time is gone. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Be sure and tune in, because those shows are going to play same time automatically. Be sure and bring a notepad and a pencil. You're going to get some valuable information. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye, folks.